I think it's just cool to see so many of the speakers. There are a lot of new things with what I call modern Excel. You're not going to need to know anything technical anymore, and like coding doesn't really matter.
George Mount is another awesome Microsoft MVP who spoke at the summit, and his topic was one that I think most normal Excel users are pretty uncomfortable with: Python in Excel. He made the point, which I thought was really useful and interesting, that if you are new to Python, you may want to go through the effort of setting up a Python environment outside of Excel to take those first few learning steps. He was saying that essentially there is a whole world of Python that has nothing to do with Excel, and that might be the best place to start. In terms of Python in Excel, he said that it's really nice that Python is leaning on some of the best and some of the newest features of Excel, like images in cells, dynamic arrays, Excel tables, and Power Query. And he also made the point that we're probably still going to be doing most of our data wrangling as Excel users with Power Query. What does Python in Excel bring to us? Well, it gives us a whole host of additional analytics and visualization capabilities, and some of those are very, very powerful indeed. So here's my talk with George Mount after his presentation at the Global Excel Summit.
Yeah, George Mount, hello.
Hey Giles, how's it going?
It's really nice to meet you too. I've seen lots of your stuff on LinkedIn, and here we are at the Global Excel Summit.
Yes, finally get to meet. Have met so many people that are just LinkedIn headlines to me, or they were before. So that's really been a highlight of the summit. Yeah.
And has there been like a highlight content-wise for you over the last 2 days?
I think it's just cool to see so many of the speakers just kind of serendipitously sharing the same insights and the same tools and the same approaches. Like Leila Garani opened with plot with Python and Excel that I showed, and then Carlos showed today, Carlos Barbosa. So things like that, showing that Excel is kind of heading in the same direction for us all, and we all have different approaches, but we're all kind of repeating each other in different ways too.
And on that, you are like a published author, stepping very much into the world of coding languages like Python, R, I think as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any broad advice for what I like to call like the average Excel user, if they want to step into this, other than obviously buy your books?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my session was on Python and Excel, and one thing I really wanted to take home with that was there are a lot of new things with what I call modern Excel that are really worth understanding maybe before you even get into something like Python. Get familiar with tables, dynamic arrays, using pictures in cells, things like that. Because not only is that going to help you kind of understand the logic of programming, that's going to put you in a really good spot in terms of AI and Copilot, because those features are going to rely on a lot of that philosophy anyway. So, there's a lot of backbone, like the world of finance and analytics and everything is still going to be, with Excel as that strong backbone.
It really feels like, for people that maybe don't think of themselves as coders,
right?
It's almost like, I don't know if you agree with this, they have to start stepping into the coding space. It's like you can't now get away with just being an in-the-grid Excel user. If you want to really add value, it doesn't mean you have to become a Python expert.
Right, yeah.
At the very least, you're going to have to get comfortable with coding lets or lambdas or something. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because in one way people are saying that with the rise of generative AI that you're not going to need to know anything technical anymore, and like coding doesn't really matter. But on the other hand, it's almost accelerated the accessibility of coding even more. I'm thinking about even like Power Query, where you're able to generate these steps and you look on the back end and the code is there and you can edit the code. I mean, ChatGPT takes that kind of go-between from coding to language to an even further step, right? So, it's just that ability to problem solve and not really be afraid about what tool you're using, because that they're all meant to be working together. So I think that, having those coding and technical skills, they're always going to be important. It's always just been about problem solving, troubleshooting, right?
Yeah. And you personally, what have you got coming up? I don't know if there's any kind of specific plans you've got for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I do have a couple things with LinkedIn Learning coming any day now. Those are going to be on AI topics for Excel. Working on a book that should be due maybe like in the spring or early summer on modern analytics in Excel. So again, just going through this suite of tools like Power Pivot, Power Query, showing you specific examples of, these are things that you absolutely need to know in Excel if you're going to make the most of AI, Copilot, ChatGPT, and all that.
Yeah, I saw you've been sharing some stuff on Copilot recently.
Yeah.
I saw that on LinkedIn. What I'd be interested in your kind of current take on Copilot and how useful it looks like it's going to be for people.
Yeah, so we're at a place here where we're in the extreme minority of like Excel Uber enthusiasts, right? And you have to remember there are like literally 1 billion other people who use Excel. Most of them are not quite at this skill level and enthusiasm level. So, when we're thinking about Copilot, you have to remember, there are people for whom conditional formatting is a big deal. And if they can have help with that, via natural language querying, I would say that's a win. Now, again, hopefully their journey doesn't stop there. And again, talking about troubleshooting skills, you're going to need to know how to troubleshoot with Copilot because it's going to get things wrong. And it gets a lot of things wrong right now because it's in those early days. But I would say that overall, I'm really excited about it. It's just going to take a little bit of rollout, and we all just need to be mindful that this is for the new people, not necessarily for the people here.
Awesome. Great insights. George, great to meet you. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks, Giles. Take care. Yeah, thanks.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's always done.